for a doctorate degree, and I decided to get the doctorate degree in higher education, it was because I felt that I could do what I have been doing for a larger group of students. And lo and behold, that's how it ended up. And so I'm very grateful for all the opportunities that I have had here at Bloomsburg University of Pennsylvania. I've been retired since 2015. I'm getting older, I'm 74 years old, and I feel it, but things are going well. Did I answer all your questions?
Pretty much, yeah. But as a younger man, what other interests besides football did you have?
Well, actually, in high school, I ran track. Believe it or not, I ran the hurdles. Ran the third leg. Back then, it's called what, 4x400 or something like that. Yeah. And actually ran in pin relays one year. I don't tell many people about that because by the time I got the baton, we were so far behind that people on the third turn would say, "Come on, Norristown, come on, Norristown." I'll never forget it. It's the most embarrassing experience, one of the most embarrassing experiences. Going through life, you'll have a lot of embarrassing experiences and some failures. You just sort of like get up and pick up from where you left on and keep pushing. Those bad experiences eventually turn into good experiences. Now, after high school, I never ran track again. I also played basketball my sophomore year in high school, because high school, when I went to school, was from 10th grade to 12th grade. 7th grade to 9th grade, was junior high school, and I was at another school for that. So 10th grade and 11th grade I played basketball. My senior year, I was on the basketball team. During practice, it was Christmas time, and the wrestling coach came out and said, come on with me, I want you to wrestle. So the head coach and I, we really were not on good terms. I mean, I did what he asked me to do, but we just were not on good terms because I thought I was a better player than he thought I was. So I ended up going with the wrestling coach's name, by the way. It was Urban, the same as my first name. And so I wrestled my senior year. It was an experience. I wrestled, I was 186 pounds, or was 181 pounds, because I wrestled both open class and I think it was a 181 pound class. The unfortunate thing was that I got the chance to wrestle the heavyweight state champion at the time. So coach said, just stay off your back as long as you can. I said, okay. It was a real challenging experience. We had 11 matches. I lost 10, won the last one. It was just late in my life, and if I had started wrestling early on, no telling what would have happened, because I actually enjoyed it, although I had some bad experiences wrestling, but I kept my head up and kept pushing forward. So.
In the
1966 season, Buffalo was playing at Tampa.
Oh, yeah.
And you all got food poisoning.
Where'd you get that from?
I did some research.
Jeez. Well, that's absolutely the truth. After the game, first of all, we're coming out of snow, playing in Tampa, and the humidity, I swear, must have been 100 degrees. It was hot. And people were complaining that they were sick, and the running back, Leland Jones, and I, we're just kind of looking at each other like, what's going on with everybody? Some of the coaches got sick. And so after the game, after we, showered up and went back to the hotel, there were only a few of us eating dinner. Like the whole hall, all the food, there were probably 10 to 15 people at dinner. Everyone else had gotten sick. And so, like we're just sitting there, so what happened? Because we all ate the same food. Everything that was eaten that weekend, it was the same. We all, coaches, trainers, everyone. We all ate the same food, and over half the team got sick. And staff, coaching staff got sick. That's all I know. Because I ate dinner that night. We just like, what happened? I mean, no, seriously. And many of our very best players, they were sick, and I couldn't figure it out. Only thing I complained about was the heat, because it was hot there. And they beat us pretty handily too. So I remember that game as if it were yesterday. That is interesting. Very good. Anything else?
Yeah.
Following your career at Buffalo, you had a little time coaching assistant coach at Toledo. Were there many differences between a player and coach?
Were there differences between a player and a coach?
Well, like different types of differences. Like you were in both situations, so.
Yeah, well, first of all, the coach, we looked to the coach because he had the knowledge of what the heck we were supposed to do, because we didn't know anything. I just knew that I wanted to play football when I played football, and I was very good at hitting people. So I loved playing linebacker. And back then, we were taught to use our heads.
Yeah.
Today, it's illegal. And so I learned early in my football career that if I'm going to use my head, because we had helmets we called suspension helmets. There was no padding inside. There were straps around our head that protected our head from the shell of the helmet. So our head never touched the helmet shell, if that makes any sense. So there were straps like suspension, straps around and across, and of course we had the straps. And the face guard, we thought it was pretty sophisticated. We had the two guards across and then the one coming down. Well, today their whole faces are covered. Okay. And I got a story about that against Boston College when we played them my senior year. And so I would put a collar on around my neck, and I made sure that the helmet, when I hit someone, that the helmet would hit the collar, so all the shock would be absorbed in the collar as opposed to, damaging my spinal cord or anything like that. So apparently I had some brain somewhere, and I used my head to tackle, and the way we were taught was to hit the person right here, face in the chest. And like today, they call it spearing when you use your head. I can remember at the community college, our defensive line tackled the quarterback in the backfield, so he went flying in the air, and I came around the outside, and I caught him with my helmet and spun him around. I guess he was dizzy for the rest of the game. He might have had a concussion. I don't know. And it was just perfect. The whole fans, everybody in the stands, the whole stadium, whatever the yell is when somebody does something really hot on the football field. That's what it was. But today, I probably would have been penalized several games. But back then, that was a great hit. And so I look at, and even when I coached, that's how I coached players to tackle. Also, when I looked at my coach, not only was he my coach on the field, he was sort of like my mentor, somebody I would go to talk to if I needed someone to talk to. So probably the reason why I was good in my job today is because I've had all these experiences, beginning with my high school football coach who pulled me aside And by the way, he not only pulled me aside, there was a lot of paperwork that needed to be completed, and he did it all, did everything to get me prepared to go to Dodge State. So, yeah, so, you know, that's the relationship between a player and a coach. If the coach is doing his job or her job today, you know, not only the coach on the field or on the court, they're a mentor off the field and off the court because, you know, I needed someone to talk to. There were not many other people I could sit down with to talk to other than my close friends, and my close friends were the football players because we didn't have time.
Yep.
You know, football was like a job. Excuse me. I took 15, 16 credits a day, so I had 8 o'clock classes every year. Every semester I had 8 o'clock classes. So my classes needed to be done by 1 o'clock, so I could go to practice, get ready for practice. And then after practice, we went to dinner, and then after dinner, we went to meetings. We had film nights, meetings, we go over things. I had to learn my position. I had to learn our opponent's offenses and the plays that they like to run, especially the plays that they wanted to run to my side. Now, I would like to consider myself an athlete, and so because I was an athlete, there were many times they avoided me and ran plays the other way. Now, I wasn't all that big, but I was quick. And in fact, among the linebacker corps, I was probably the lightest one, but I was the quickest. And so while we had linebackers with big muscles, they couldn't move, they couldn't outquick me. And so that's why I was always starting in the first position. That's the player, and that's kind of like the coach-player relationship. Now, I had another fortunate experience that one of my players that I coached at the University of Toledo, he was the same age as I was. He was 25 years old. But in addition to that, he had earned the Iron Cross. He was in the Marines, this Vietnam period. And he was also an All-American. And so I said, listen, you just need to get where you need to get. That's my coaching of you. I coached the other players. He pretty much did his thing. Now, every now and then, you get a little cocky and do something wrong, and you know I had to remind him of that. But it wasn't like a coach-player relationship. It was like an adult relationship, and that's how I treated that. Because it wasn't much I could tell him. He was an All-American by the time I got there. He was the same age as I was, 25 years old. So I think we might have gone out one night or so during my first year there, trying to introduce me to the community of Toledo, Ohio. I don't know, I hope I explained the relationship the difference between a player and a coach, the relationship there. There is a substantial relationship. Trust is another big issue. And I really trusted the coaches. They went out of their way to help me. It wasn't a smooth process or transition from freshman to senior year because of transferring. I had some issues, but they helped me out. They were there, right there when I needed help. They got me help. And so I take my hat off to all of them because they were all very supportive. And I found myself in my own career doing the same thing. And it really started not so much at the University of Buffalo, but more so at the University of Toledo. They put me in charge of financial aid for the football players. So, you know, like, we want to offer a player full scholarship, and they did the same thing with me. They offered me a full scholarship, but I also had to fill out the financial aid form. So whatever financial aid didn't cover, the scholarship covered. So either way, I had full scholarship. So I ended up in my football career as a side job being the financial aid person. So we'd go out and recruit athletes. We have them all fill out the financial aid form. I work with the financial aid office, and for the ones that we could get financial aid for, that offset what the scholarship program had to invest in the player. Although the player got his college tuition, room and board, books, and whatever else covered, some of the money may have come from scholarship, other portions of the money may have come from financial aid. Now, I don't know if they do that at Penn State, because they bring in a lot of money, but at the University of Toledo and Buffalo, that was the bread and butter.
Okay, thank you for taking us up on the interview. That's it for sports broadcasting today. Within the next 2 days, we will upload another video. It's a preview of the big game this week, Miami versus 8th ranked Florida. Preview of that game and the predictions for that too. So thank you.
When is that game?
Saturday.